Ma'am Rita.
Hi,
Yes,
Mia.
ma'am. So for the first question, ma'am, we just wanted to know a bit of your background. So what particular subjects do you teach po?
In the Open University, I teach only one subject, that is human resource management, under the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. So this is primarily for the Masters in Nursing program. But I also teach in the University of the Philippines College of Nursing. It is diverse, actually. It's not parallel, but the other one is actually psychiatric nursing, mental health and psychiatric nursing, which is not related. Well, in a way, it's also related to human resource management. But this is more on specialty and clinical nursing. But the other one is more on administrative. Yes.
In the two universities that you teach, ma'am, do you have any participation in the designing of the degree program, or for the particular subjects that you teach? Maybe yes, do you have a say in the curriculum for the different courses?
In the Open University, I started in 2015. I had the opportunity to participate in the review. There was a drastic change. It was really an overhaul of the program. So I was able to participate to expand and enhance the program for that particular subject. In the UP College of Nursing, I also had the opportunity, because we are now doing, actually it was just before the COVID pandemic, we were able to review the course and redirect some of the subjects, because in psychiatric nursing, it was purely clinical. And we thought that maybe we can add more in terms of mental health promotion. So I was able to participate in both.
All right, ma'am. So in those subjects that you currently teach po, what is the ratio of your synchronous and asynchronous classes?
For OpenU, it's asynchronous. It's very structured in the sense because it's online. And we have students even not only in the Philippines, but even offshore. While in the College of Nursing, it's mostly synchronous, mainly because we have to interact more. By the name itself, mental health, there should be more interaction between the teacher and the student. And I have to really validate some of their experiences, right, real time, because that is part of the teaching strategy.
Just a follow-up question to that, ma'am.
Okay.
Rita. For the nursing subject, in this pandemic, yes, you're doing synchronous classes. That is online, I presume. That's right?
Yes, through Zoom, yes.
But prior to the pandemic, you were doing actual face-to-face.
Definitely face-to-face.
So you said that you use Zoom for online.
Yes.
Is there any other alternative platform that you use also apart from Zoom?
Of course, Messenger. That's the only way that we do it. It's online, both online, but mainly those things. And we email each other, but definitely because of the current situation, there's no other way but to do it through online. While before the pandemic, it's face-to-face, as Ryan has mentioned, it's face-to-face, and I have to ask them for certain requirements, reports. In psychiatry, we have voluminous reports because they have to do process recording. For Ryan, who's not, I presume Ryan is not a nurse, right?
No,
okay.
It's not.
Because in psychiatric nursing, I asked them to actually do a report, verbatim report on interaction with patients. So if they have one patient, that's manageable, but oftentimes we have group therapy, so there will be an average of about 8 to 10 patients all at the same time. So can you imagine the volume of reports that I asked them to submit to me? So that's the story. While in OpenU, it's mainly online. We have started with the online. From the start to finish, it's purely online.
Going back to the nursing, so you use Zoom or Messenger and emails to be able to submit the reports. They submit it through email.
Yeah, they submit it through email. Yes,
okay.
And I give it back to them through email as well,
okay.
with all the comments.
How about other forms of any other? No other platform. You don't use any other platforms other than that, or anything for maybe discussion forums?
In the OpenU, we do have discussion forums.
Okay.
But not in the college, not the clinical.
So that's through my portal. Is that right?
Yes, through my portal.
Going into those platforms that were discussed, Zoom, Messenger, email, and my portal, what do you think are the advantages or disadvantages in using those in terms of interaction with the students?
Well, the only advantage that I see in terms of email and using the online, don't have to travel. We don't have to be scared, especially now during the pandemic. And through email, I get less paper. Unlike before, I have volumes and volumes of paper, which I need to check. This time, I can do it without use of hard copies. That will facilitate actually the teaching learning activities. However, because of online, I miss the face-to-face interaction with my students because it's different when you can feel, I can see the expression online, but I cannot, it's difficult to palpate the exact feelings of students. A lot of students can actually have facade and they can actually hide their feelings. But when it's face to face, I can actually determine whether they are undergoing confusion, difficulties, if they need to discuss certain things with me. I'm very sensitive about that because primarily I'm a psychiatric nurse. So I can actually, based on language, based on body, on expressions, I can determine the extent of either difficulty or the enjoyment that the student is actually undergoing while they're doing my subject.
So I think currently even the College of Nursing is doing an online.
Yes.
So how do you maximize the dialogue with your students having this platform? And especially, for example, if you have so much number of students in one class, it's very challenging to really engage in dialogue with them.
Exactly.
So if ever, what would be your manageable size in a course?
Actually, in the OpenU, we don't have a prescribed number of minimum and maximum. Actually, there was a time that we had about 90 students on at the same time. So that is one concern that we also were discussing very recently. And we were saying, can we not limit the students? But that's not part of the conditions posed by the OpenU. We can get as many as we can. So that's a big concern. When you look at the discussion forum, you would see a lot of, well, some students are very active, but you miss out on people who don't have the facility to be, to be able to express themselves through online. So that's the setback of this particular option of not having any max and minimum number of students. While personally, I feel there should be a minimum number, maybe 20, 25. That can make it easier for you actually to follow through in terms of discussion forum. But of course, you don't participate in the discussion forum because you allow your students to be more active, more autonomous, and more self-directed. And that's the primary reason why UPOU is really doing such thing. But on the other hand, for the College of Nursing, we want more interaction. That's why we have limited number of students. Actually, in my class, which is group and family therapy, I only have 2 students.
Wow.
So yeah, only 2 students. The maximum I had with psychiatry is 5. When I was teaching also administration courses in the UP College of Nursing, I got 29, already complained to our college secretary. I was telling, you don't set all those students all at the same time. That's a violation. The maximum that I can only have would be 10. So, well, that's a different, of course, story with the face-to-face. You can actually argue and debate about the number of students you can actually prescribe. While on the OpenU, we cannot do that. That's not part of the condition.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective also in terms of number of students. I didn't know that there's no limit in OpenU. I think Ryan is also experiencing the same thing in one of his courses because there are 19 plus students also there.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's challenging and yeah, for me, well, of course, it's self-directed. We assume our students as mature and goal-directed, but that's not always the case. There are students who need more follow-up and more maybe dialogue, more interaction with a teacher. That's the way for them to learn. But again, it will depend on the guidelines of a particular university or college.
Would you say that because you have two perspectives in Open University and also College of Nursing. So in terms of dialogue, you have more dialogue with the College of Nursing, no? Kasi it's
Exactly.
sort of need because of the of the subject kasi.
I thought that the same subject, no, the human resource OpenU and the College of Nursing. We had more should we say discussion. There were very interesting discussion because they come from different hospitals and universities. So we were able to pick up a lot of best practices, and some of them may also took the opportunity for them to discuss their own questions, their own challenges in their own universities and hospitals. So it helped that the other students are able also to see different perspectives. It also helps that when we discuss, we can actually weed out problems. We also can get a lot of new creative innovations from other hospitals. So it helps really enrich the subject. Again, it will, well, unfortunately, given the situation that we have, I think we cannot do that anymore because of restrictions. But given the situation after maybe the next normal, we can go back to that particular strategy of teaching our students.
I'd like to go back to what you said earlier, that in the UP Open University, you recognize that there are some students that do need more interaction or dialogue for them to be able to catch up or understand the subjects. What do you do when you encounter those kinds of students?
Actually, we encourage them to email us directly. And there were some students who really would email us and ask to discuss some concerns. And we answer them. Yeah.
Good to know. Maybe I can do that with some of my teachers.
Sure, go ahead.
sabi ko ni Ma'am Rita, pwede naman pala kayong email eh.
Oo, nag-email sila. We had one recent email nga we got kasi nga because that particular student is one of the frontliners in the hospital. So she had to actually leave and say that she will have to drop the subject. So there was, some help given by my partner teacher because I got the email late. So I saw the discussion. And that is one, I think, important thing that we have to also manage now because of increasing anxieties of our students posed by the pandemic. And that is the best way of doing it, really emailing it. Even if you can see the feelings of each other, at least you're able to share your feelings and perspectives.
Going back to the structure of the degree programs, I asked you earlier about your participation in that. So in the structure of the degree programs that you're handling, both in Open University and in the UP Manila, what level of autonomy is allowed for your students? And what aspect of the course or the program would you give them freedom to choose? Probably in the plan of study and the way schedules are set, or what subjects to take.
In the OpenU, we don't have much leeway for the students. It's highly structured. We have sets of subjects and topics under one particular course, and that we have already made the modules, but it's actually regularly being reviewed and updated. But the students can say, I have to take this subject first. No, you have to follow the structure of that particular program. While in the College of Nursing, it's the same. You cannot take the other subject first before you cannot jumble your subjects. It has to follow a very regular and very, should we say, organized way of providing the subjects. The only autonomy that we have in terms of on the Open Universities, you have your own time. You can manage your own time. There's a prescriptive time frame by which you should finish the module. But then it will depend on you when you are free to do it. But the College of Nursing, no. Very strict in terms of if you see the syllabus, week 1, finish this, week 2, so on and so forth. So at the end of the 10th or 16th week, you're able to accomplish certain requirements of it. It's very much structured.
We would like to know, when do you apply a long transactional distance setup versus a short one in terms of setup for students?
I think it should be a compromise for me. Pero for Open University, we don't have any recourse because that is the prescribed guidelines in the Open University. So it's a long distance thing because we have students coming from offshore. Well, for the College of Nursing, it's, should I say mandated? What term should I use? But it is required that we have frequent interaction with the students. It's only it's very difficult for OpenU. I would like somehow to make some modifications in terms of allowing students to have and teachers to have more interaction. But then again, time zones will be very difficult to manage. So if you're one teacher against 93 students coming from different parts of the world, it will be difficult to have a short distance kind of teaching learning activity. But for a face-to-face, definitely it should be short distance because that is your opportunity really to gauge the capacity of the students, also the gauge your own way of providing learning opportunities and modify somehow, almost like real time, because you can see the reactions of the students. You can see the impact it will create on your students. While for the online, it will be very difficult. You have to finish the course and you will only see it during the discussion fora that you have, faculty mediated assignments if they're able to do it and give back the reactions that you have. So that's the only way of really bridging that long distance transaction type of teaching learning.
So I think, ma'am, I'm also thinking for the short transaction, like clinicals, when we do clinicals, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Because we
There
have
will be
patients there.
exactly, and your teacher will be there.
Yes.
Even if you're in OpenU, yes, your professor will always be with you when you do your clinicals. I don't know in your own course now if you also have such kind of opportunity. But I think if you have practicum, then that will be the time to have a short distance kind of transaction. And maybe make the most out of it. That's the time to barrage your teacher with all the questions.
Agree.
Ma'am Rita, I'd like to make a follow-up on that.
Sige,
For
okay.
Open University, you said the prescribed method is mostly you would have a long transactional distance because there's less dialogue. But are you, as a professor there, are you actually prevented by the program to engage into more dialogue, or it's your option if you want to and you think you have the option to do more frequent dialogues with the students? Are you allowed to do that?
How should I put it without compromising my position? But anyway, well, again, we are prevented because of the number of students. Not really prevented, but it become very cumbersome if you do it. No, so that's why I said earlier we encourage them to email us, but not to the point that you participate during the discussion forum because it will be not only cumbersome, it will create a lot of difficulty on the part of the students and yourself if you do that actively. Again, because of distance, because of different time zones, because of different times when the student will be coming in. So some will be lagging behind. You might be discussing certain topic and then all of a sudden they come in and they'll become confused. So you have to repeat the discussion. So it will become very, very difficult. So maybe as we go along the pandemic, we will be able to realize some of the concerns that we have in online teaching. And there are a lot of programs now, actually, unless we get a better way of doing it. Maybe some people, Ryan, maybe because you're tech savvy, maybe you can think of better way on how to really manage that and marry and harmonize synchronous and asynchronous way of teaching.
Mahirap nga po talaga pag mag-isa lang kayong nag-facilitate
Diba?
ng online. Pwede ba kayo
Oo.
kumuha, ma'am, ng parang assistant na para mag-perform, parang tech team mo dun sa ano?
Actually, it used to be meron tutor who actually assist the student. But now, hindi sila kumuha ng tutor for us eh. Kaya nun, I just do the module. I revise the module. I give of course, yung mga objectives and so on and so forth. Tapos discussion part. and then questions to aid in the learning activity and assignments. Ang tutor ngayon will follow up the students in terms of difficulty and ability to manage. Pero ngayon wala eh. I don't know what happened. I have to ask. Ang hirap ng part-time eh. Sometimes you can ask, diba? So, yun na lang. Sabihin na lang sa'yo, oh, wala ka ngayon tutor. Ha? Ano gagawin ko?
Ganun pala, parang admin support, no? Yung tutor niyo.
Admin support. For any technical difficulties, andun yung tutor. Yeah. Kasi kulang na rin ang faculty, so yung tutor naging faculty na rin, doing their own, they have also their own subjects to teach.
Manage. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, Ma'am Rita, thank you so much for your time and for your insights. I know that the people or the students who are listening now will learn a lot from you and would also appreciate yung mga insights and how they would, what to expect from open universities and also from colleges. Yeah. So Ryan,
thank you, Ma'am Rita.
Thank you for this conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
and keep safe.
Keep safe din, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.